Well, good evening and welcome to tonight's on-track event for the class of 2029. Hello, freshmen and parents of freshmen. We're so glad you could join us tonight. My name is Britannia Mori. I'm part of the ICAN team here to lead you through this evening's discussion on all of the important things you need to know as new high school students who are preparing for the next 4 years. I'm joined with a variety of individuals this evening that'll all kind of join in as we progress. You're going to meet my colleague Eric and Carrie. They're going to take over the panel discussion. And at that time, they will introduce a lot of our college and university panelists and our college students who will give you their very new perspective on what it's like to make that transition and provide some advice. Also going to be joined by Danielle Sampson from the Iowa Department of Education's Bureau of Iowa College Aid. And she's going to talk about a resource that the state has for you as you progress through high school. And then Shelley Adams joins us from a partner organization, ISL Education Lending, and she's going to talk about some of their tools and resources that can help you over the next few years plan for life after high school. With that said, we'll go ahead and get started. So again, welcome to the class of 2029. As we are getting started, I want to focus on the webinar chat. If you guys have questions throughout the presentation, you can go ahead and use the chat. And I know Carrie seems to have already put that in there, but we're also curious where you're joining us from. So if you want to pop into the chat and just kind of drop the name of your high school or your hometown, just so we know, who's on with us this evening and where we're reaching. So go ahead and get started here. So for those that you're probably new high school families may not be familiar with ICAN quite yet. We're an education nonprofit here in the state of Iowa, and we work with schools all across the state to provide career and college readiness planning and programming. So in the coming years, you may have presentations in your schools where you'll meet one of our staff members and they'll talk you through different parts of the process. You may get resources and things as well, and additional events like this. We also do offer advising services. We have physical locations in Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Cedar Falls, Ankeny, Sioux City, Council Bluffs, and Davenport. But we also offer virtual appointments. So if you're ever questioning how to plan, how to move forward through high school, what things you're thinking about for your next steps, we can talk to you about that, and all of our services are provided at no cost. So it's really easy to visit our website and schedule a free appointment. Some things that Carrie's going to drop into the chat that you can reference tonight. We do put together resource materials, and 2 of those that are perfect for you as you're beginning high school as new freshmen. Our freshman transitions guide that talks all about beginning high school and making that transition from middle school to high school. And then our freshman calendar, which goes month by month through your freshman year and just keeps you on track, giving you tips and things to do in the planning process so that you're continually exploring and thinking about those next steps. You can also download those from our website at icansucceed.org/materials. And that is now in the chat as well. So the biggest thing about transitioning to high school and beginning your freshman year is really planning for a well-rounded experience over the next 4 years. Every moment in high school does count towards your future. That's not to put pressure on you right now, but it's to remind you that it really does start now. It doesn't start junior year when you start campus visits or you start thinking about what job you might want to have or career training program. It does start now. Your academics, the choices that you make, the extracurricular activities, if you do job shadows, internships, or you get a job while you're in high school, and your social life, all of these things will factor into the opportunities that are available to you. So it's important for you to develop and plan out a well-rounded high school experience, because you're going to gain skills and experiences from all of those different aspects of high school that will help you in the future. It's also important to plan. I know you're just starting high school, so for me to start talking about planning for what's going to happen in 4 or 5 years seems daunting and far off. But things that you do now as a freshman and over the next 4 years will impact what choices you have for life after high school. So it's important to think about what you want to do then so that you can experience things throughout high school that will help inform those choices. It's important to think about different jobs that are out there, people in different career situations, Do they seem to enjoy their job? Do they seem to be happy or not? And the more you have these internal conversations, as well as conversations with those around you, your family, your friends, the more you explore and plan, the more likely you are to find a career that you love and that fits you. And it also will then save you some time in terms of maybe having to switch career fields or transfer classes or things like that. One of the best ways to kind of start finding your path through high school is by learning about career clusters. We really encourage students, especially as young as you are, to not try and fit yourself into one particular career just yet. Career clusters are a way of organizing all of the different jobs that are out there in the world into 14 different categories that all have similar traits and skill sets, so that if you're good at one thing or you're interested in an area, you'll find that cluster of careers that gives you a lot of different things to explore. There's also this the new change in the workforce where a lot of the jobs that you will have throughout your career don't yet fully exist. So focusing on areas and skill sets that you're interested in is going to be open up more opportunities as you progress through the next few years. So as you can see on the screen there are 14 career cluster areas for you to explore, and you can do that through career assessments. Within each of those clusters, there are going to be subcategories. So under the advanced manufacturing cluster, for example, that's where you're going to find things like engineering and robotics. Under digital technology, that's where you're going to find, IT, network systems, unmanned vehicle technology, which we all call drones. So you can really dig into those career clusters and find a variety of different opportunities that all relate to each other. And if you really want to dig into that, we do talk about the career clusters in that freshman transition guide that I mentioned a few slides ago that's linked in the chat. But you can also visit careertech.org/career clusters. Another part of the planning process as you're going through beginning high school and thinking about over the next 4 years is, what are all of the options that are going to be available to you and how do you prepare for those? So there are lots of different education and training opportunities for you after high school. It's not just workforce or college. You can look into apprenticeships and career training programs. There are certificate and diploma options that can be done within a year or less. Associate's degrees, there are career-focused associate's degrees and then transfer opportunities. This is all part of that career cluster exploration, because when you start aligning and figuring out which career cluster areas you might be interested in, it's going to tell you what kind of credentials you need for those careers, and that will lead you to the type of education and training programs that you should seek out. And thinking about what you do next, there's lots of different benefits to that. There's the monetary benefits of the more education or training you gain, the higher your monetary value for your salary can be. But there are lots of non-monetary benefits as well to consider as you're thinking about the future. Studies are showing that those that go on to get more education and training beyond a high school diploma have improved physical and mental health, greater life satisfaction, more career options and chances for advancement, better job quality, stability, and flexibility, stronger critical thinking, communication, and problem-solving skills, all of the things that we want to see and that employers are looking for in our future workforce. So that's a lot of what I'm doing in 4 years conversation. I want to talk a little bit about how you get there now. So in 8th grade, you started the conversation about 4-year plans, and you developed the first version of your high school 4-year plan, which is the outline of all the classes that you're going to take to get your high school diploma. You can use your 4-year plan to figure out your career clusters and your education and training options and your skill sets. All of that can come through and be explored through your 4-year plan. So it's important as you go through the next 4 years to keep track of your plan, to make sure you're not only meeting your graduation requirements, but that you're looking forward and you're thinking, okay, these classes are going to help me explore this area. I might learn more. That class might be related to a career I'm interested in. I know I'm thinking about this kind of school and they require an extra year of math for admission, or they require world language for admission. So you want to think about what classes you're taking over the next 4 years and go beyond just what you're required to have for high school graduation. But how can you explore your career interests and how can you prepare for those next steps? So this is our optimum preparation chart. We take this from the Iowa Board of Regents. That's UNI, Iowa, Iowa State. What are their expectations? And to optimally prepare for the traditional college route, you're going to go beyond what it takes to get your high school diploma. So 4 years of math, 4 years of science. You only really need 3 years to graduate high school, but taking that fourth year is going to prepare you for college level academics. It means you're not going to take that extra year off. You're going to hopefully avoid remediation classes. World language is something that every college is a little bit different as in terms of what their admission criteria might be or their graduation criteria might be. And I know that during the panel discussion later, we can kind of get into some of our panelists can talk about their different requirements. But a good best practice, take at least 2 years in high school because you'll meet most requirements for admission. You may have to take more when you get to college. 4 years of world language in high school generally covers all of your college admission and graduation requirements generally. Not always, depends on the college. But those are some things to think about when you're looking at your 4-year plan. It's also important throughout high school to be active and to get involved. When we had that well-rounded slide up here a few minutes ago, I talked about not just academics, but what's your extracurricular and community service looking like. You can gain a ton of experience and skills outside of the classroom by getting involved in different things that fit your interests. Sports, clubs, community service, all of those things build skills like leadership, like teamwork. They teach you how to be organized. They teach you how to manage your time, how to balance things. These are all skills that you need no matter what career you go into. They're also going to improve your interpersonal abilities, which is just how we communicate with each other. You're going to have practice in how you relate to different people in different situations. And some of those opportunities, you will learn about different careers. And they may be things that spark in you. And you're like, I want to do more of that. Or you may come across something that you're like, that's not for me. I'm not going to go in that direction. So being active and getting involved is really important outside of the classroom. It also helps when it comes time to pay for college. So whether you're going to do a 1 or 2 year program, 4 years or more, involvement equals scholarships. There are many, many scholarships out there that you can get through involvement and not necessarily through academic merit. So getting involved in clubs and extracurricular activities, volunteering, having a part-time job, those can all give you an advantage when it comes to scholarship applications. So for the parents on this evening or watching our recording, there is a role, of course, for parents in all of this, and it's a really important role. Providing the support and guidance that your students need so that they know that you're there to have those conversations, you're there to help them figure out what the right path and right fit is for them. But this is the time as they progress through high school where stepping back and making sure that you're not hovering and that you're not doing everything for your student. This is a time to really help them grow in their independence and be a checkpoint. But you can also be then teaching them those life skills. Have they started learning how to cook yet? Do they know how to do their own laundry? Managing time, just the everyday life skills that we all need. Helping them work through communications and people skills, handshakes, eye contact when they're talking, posture when they're talking. That will prepare them for those interview skills that are going to be coming. And then money management, involving them in some of your money management, teaching them good skill sets. Sometimes students don't yet know that rent doesn't always include utilities, like a mortgage. There's always going to be an electric bill and a gas bill and a trash bill and a water bill. Just starting to have those conversations with your students if you haven't already, so that they begin building some of those real world skill sets for when they are on their own. And that leads us to some additional things. I mentioned laundry and cooking, basic car maintenance. When you're talking about time management, do you have a calendar on your phone or an app that helps you track things? Prioritization. How much is too much? What comes first? When is it okay to say no? As a parent, I had that conversation today where my son said, I don't want to join that extra club because I think my schedule's full. It was a really great moment for me to be like, oh yeah, you're getting it. That's an independent moment for you. Helping our students understand how and when to do those things and have those conversations is a really important role for you as a parent. When we talk about those people skills, again, being articulate, well-dressed, professional, public speaking is important. Those skills are helpful no matter what career you go into. At some point, you may have to try and sell an idea or explain to someone why something you're proposing is the right move. So having those skill sets and practicing those things in high school, taking that extra speech class, those are all going to be things that come and benefit you in the workforce, regardless of what career you go into next. And then that last point, again, money management, banking budgets, beginning to talk about credit, making sure students understand their credit score. If you've never helped your student pull their credit report before, just to make sure that it's all clean and empty, which is pretty normal at their age. We do live in that world of cybercrime and security, so making sure no one has swapped their credit information is good. And then talking about loans and interest rates, just how it all works is also important. So as I begin to wrap up my part of this evening, there are a few things I want to share about ICAN and some upcoming events before I turn it over. So ICAN continue, we're always sharing information out. You can sign up to receive that information. If you scan that QR code there on the screen or go to the icansucceed.org/signup, you can sign up for our email alerts. We do those by grade level, so you get emails specifically for whatever's going on freshman year, and then that'll automatically transition each year of high school. And you can get the tip of the week video, event alerts, things like that. We're also on social media. So Facebook, X or Twitter, Instagram, and then we do have a YouTube channel where all of our presentations, we do Wednesday webinars, all of that is housed. So at any point in time, you can decide, tonight I'm going to learn about this. You can go find a video on that. There are lots of different pathways, as I talked about, and it's really important to explore all of them so you can not only find what's right for you, but also figure out what isn't right for you. So one of those options is, of course, the military. And through the military, there are lots of different options. There's direct enlistment. There's the military academies, which is like college with training rolled in. There's ROTC programs at colleges and universities across the state of Iowa. There's also the National Guard. So we do sponsor some military career fairs that are coming up over the next few weeks. Next week, we're in Burlington. The week after that, we're in Waterloo, and in October, we're in Ankeny, Council Bluffs, and Sioux City. So if you go to icansucceed.org/military fair, we will have representatives from every branch, some of the academies, the ROTC programs, so you can come and learn about all of those opportunities at any of those fairs. Those are all free events. So if you're interested, check out the website and you can RSVP that you're going to come to one of those. This weekend, this Sunday, the 21st of September, is the largest college fair held in the state every year. It's Golden Circle. This is the 35th instance of Golden Circle. There will be 100 exhibitors at the fair this weekend. This is another free event that you can come to. It's at the Prairie Meadows Conference Center, which is right next to Adventureland. Starts at 1, it goes till 3. It's a come and go, stop in as you want event. But there are 100 exhibitors signed up to talk with students and parents. We have colleges and universities from 12 different states. We have apprenticeship programs, student service organizations, career speakers. We have some military representatives. So this is a great first stop for you as a freshman to come and just see what's out there and start having conversations. This would be a great event for you to attend this weekend in Des Moines. So that concludes my portion of this evening. I am going to now welcome Shelley for just a few minutes. She's going to talk about a couple of programs that ISL Education Lending has for you as students and parents.
Thanks, Britt. Really happy to be with you tonight. I'm Shelley Adams with ISL Education Lending. Just a little bit about ISL. We're more commonly known as Iowa Student Loan, which is our parent company, but we do business as ISL Education Lending. And doing business means that we are a student loan provider, but we're a nonprofit operating in the state here for over 40 years. And we commit to our nonprofit goals of helping families plan smart and pay less for college. And so we do that by offering some free tools and resources and also some scholarships. So I'm going to tell you about a couple of ways that you can win free money for college, which is what we all want for students. Nothing that has to be repaid, right? But I manage a program for ISL called SP3, or Student Planning Pointers for Parents. It's a free email service for parents who have 8th through 12th grade students. You sign up just giving us some information about yourself, not really your student. You just give us the grade level that your students are in. And then we're going to send you a couple of emails each month. It'll send you to an article that has really great information for you about college and career planning. It's very timely because we're going to base that upon the time of year, but also relevant to your students' grade level. So all of those topics that Britt talked about for freshmen, those are in our SP3 articles. We focus a lot for our freshman students on financial literacy, learning some life skills that will last a lifetime, basically. So again, knowing how to empty that dishwasher can be important in later years. But just helping around the house, maybe babysitting younger students and finding ways to earn money, because we're already starting the conversation about saving for college or life after high school, whatever the choices are. There are many options available to students after high school, and we talk about that a lot in ninth grade. Sign up is really easy for SP3. You just go to sp3.org, give us some information. And then the best part really is that every quarter we select randomly 40 participants to receive a $250 savings plan deposit. So this can go into any 529 account. Doesn't have to specifically be the iSave 529 account through our state treasurer's office. It can be anyone that you might have already opened, either through a financial advisor or perhaps another state's agency. So that's one way. Then the other way is we have a scholarship open right now for registration. It's open until December 5th, but it's our ISL Education Lending Scholarship. And this is open to Iowa students who are in high school, which is 9th through 12th grade, also undergraduate college students, and then also their parents and guardians or anyone else who might have an iSave 529 account open for a student. So whether or not there's a grandparent, an aunt or uncle, or a godparent who might have already started that 529 account, it can go into that, but we're going to randomly select 45 people to get $1,000. Now we have kind of an educational component with this as well. So any of those who register, they'll be sent to a couple of our tools like Student Loan Game Plan and the College Funding Forecaster, which is great for seniors when they're getting those financial aid offers, and then Return on College Investment, which shows really what your return is on entering college and getting either an associate degree or a bachelor's degree. So all of those are taking place. For the ISL Education Lending Scholarship, we'll also have another registration period in spring, and you're welcome to register again then. So those two options, I would encourage you to go out and register for tonight. And good luck. Hope you're eligible and ready to get some money, free money for college.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Shelley.
Yep.
Next up, we have Danielle Sampson. She's from the Iowa Department of Education's Bureau of Iowa College Aid, and she's just going to share some resources from the state of Iowa. Danielle?
Yeah, thanks, Britt. We are really excited to be able to share with you our college coaching texting program that we have available through the Bureau of Iowa College Aid. I do want to ask before I go too far into this, are any of you connected currently to our Gear Up program with Gear Up Iowa at all? And if so, please feel free to let us know in the chat. Um, for our students that are in ninth grade that are a part of Gear Up Iowa, you may already be receiving these text messages, and parents, you may have already been signed up for these as well. But this is a way for our students that are in ninth through 12th grade in the high schools to be able to get information about the college going steps that we follow through the Bureau of Iowa College Aid, which is prepare, apply, finance, decide, and go. And what we really do is try to focus on each of those steps along the way throughout the high school process, and what you can do as a high school student and as a high school parent to best prepare yourself for that college going process after you graduate. We also follow up in the after graduation for students that are potentially going off to college, going into those last dollar scholarship programs, for additional follow-up and support as they are going through those programs as well. I am going to drop in the chat some information that you can go to through the website as well. So this QR code will direct you to sign up for the texting program, which is the live person that will be texting you information that's listed there on the screen. It will ask for whether or not you are a student or a parent. That way you know the type of messaging you will be receiving. But we also have an option, which is the virtual college coach program with our AmeriCorps workers. And we have AmeriCorps people that are available to do one-on-one college planning meetings, really focused on that application process, essay writing process, FAFSA, and financial aid review. So becoming a little bit more important for that level of support when they get to that junior, senior year, but still can assist you with those college planning steps that you are in as a ninth grader as well. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We hope that you'll register for our texting program, and maybe we will see you on a virtual session in the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Danielle. To just wrap up my section before we turn it over to the panelists, I just want to end with this is what our website looks like, icansucceed.org. And up here in the top right, you'll see resource library. There are tons of resources you can download and access there. And then all of our different sections here, career planning, college planning, financial aid, you will find every step to the process. But most importantly, if you ever need our help, you can schedule an appointment. Again, those are free right here, virtually or in person. So it doesn't matter where you're located, we can help you. And that can be anything from, I don't know what I want to do. Can you help me with a career assessment? Can you help me understand this? Or I'm interested in these 3 colleges. What should I do? Or I need help with my FAFSA when I'm a senior. We are here for you every step of the way. So always just remember that I have a question about the future. ICAN is here to help you answer that. We have a team of people. I am now going to turn this over to my colleague, Eric. And he is going to introduce our panelists. And please feel free to use the chat and ask questions this evening. Thank you again for joining us. Eric, it is all yours.
Thank you, Britt. Appreciate it. Yeah, we've got some wonderful panelists that are on today, some admissions folks, as well as they brought some students along as well. So before we begin, by asking some prepared questions, but as Britt said, please, any questions that you might have, put them in the chat box. I'm going to have each of the panelists introduce themselves. And I am going to start off with Maria.
Perfect. Thanks, Eric. My name's Maria Gentile. I'm the Vice President for Enrollment and Marketing at Loras College in Dubuque, Iowa. Got my start. I went to Mount Mercy University when it was still Mount Mercy College, and then worked in the enrollment management area of Kirkwood for a few years. Spent a few years at ICAN, and then before coming back to Iowa, I spent about 8 years out in the San Francisco Bay Area at a college out there. So thanks, Eric.
No problem. And Maria, you brought a student along. Mila, I'll have you introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Mila Grothis. I'm a freshman at Loras College. Right now I'm currently studying Spanish education. and I run track and cross country, and I'm really excited to share my experience with you guys so far.
Well, thank you for taking the time to be here tonight with us. Always love to get a student perspective. Next, I'm going to have Nayli introduce herself.
Awesome. Hi, guys. My name is Nayli. I work down here in admissions with Indian Hills Community College. I'm in my first year. Just finished that up. A little background story behind myself is I actually came to Indian Hills, did 2 years here, got my associate's degree, and worked as a student ambassador. I believe that work helped me get into the admissions role, and I was hired by my boss, who was the student ambassador supervisor at the time. Now get to work with her, and I'm happy to be sharing my experience and just some backgrounds behind admissions with all of you today.
Well, thank you, Nayli, and I think you brought an ambassador now along with us today too, Adolfo.
Hello, my name is Adolfo Rodriguez Andrade. I'm one of the student ambassadors here at Indian Hills, and I'm currently studying automotive technology, and I'm ready to share my experiences with you guys. I really do appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Adolfo, for taking the time also to be here tonight. And then from the University of Iowa, Allison.
Hi, Allison Lang. I'm a college rep with the University of Iowa, and I have been in higher education for 6 years now, and I was previously a school counselor before that.
Thank you, Allison, and you also brought a student along tonight, Peyton.
Hi guys, my name is Peyton Flynn. I am a 4th year music education and percussion performance student at the University of Iowa. I'm also a tour guide. I'm in the Hawkeye Marching Band where I am the drumline captain this year. So I live a pretty busy life up here, but I've enjoyed every second and of course excited to share that with you guys.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Well, I actually want to start with a question to you as students. I mean, we're talking about freshmen here who hasn't even went through a semester yet of high school, but want to curious, and will start with you, Mila. What advice would you give these young high school freshmen right now that kind of you wish you would have known? And it could have been through freshman year or anything as you went through high school, some advice you would give to them.
Yeah, that's a great question. One I've been asked a lot, especially last year. I would say that developing good habits early is really important because then the earlier you develop them, the longer they last, and it's a lot easier to develop them now than wait until college. Um, and teachers will also notice like hard work, dedication, time management, all of these little things that end up leading to bigger things later on because your teachers notice that and other people in school notice that, and those give connections. Every single little thing is a connection. I mean, like the cliches are true. Like this time is going to go by fast. I still remember going through my freshman year of high school. So really enjoy it while you can, savor the moments and don't take it for granted. And just enjoy it.
Thank you, Mila. I'm going to come to Adolfo next. Same question. Any advice you would give these high school freshmen right now?
That's a really good question. So when it comes to high school, like I would like to add on to that too. Enjoy the years, they will pass by, and pick up some good habits. And what I mean by that is to stay consistent with schoolwork and stay on top of your game. It may seem like a lot, but that'll really pay off, especially before college. Getting under those good habits will help you manage stress and stay in control. And also, my biggest thing is don't be afraid to make mistakes or even fail, because that's what helps you in the long run and helps you grow. And then if you just continue to keep trying, things will just start to fall into place.
Excellent. Peyton, I want to come to you for any advice that you would have for the college freshman.
Yeah, I'd say number one, get involved. I think that can just make or break the experience. I think surrounding yourself with people that are kind of interested in the same thing as you, are going through the same things, can be super helpful. I know when I came into the University of Iowa, I was so nervous, but I had 300 people in the organization that I'd been in that had gone through the exact same thing. So I think just surrounding yourself, keeping yourself busy, as well as using all your resources. I always like to say I had no clue how many resources were available to me until I became a tour guide. So I always tell all my tour groups, I'm like, use all of your resources because they really are there for you.
All right, I would like to get the admissions perspectives now, sort of with this question, not necessarily advice, but um, we had talked about earlier, Britt had mentioned about classes, and even though they're just starting now, and what they need to take and different requirements. Maria, I'm going to start with you at first. Um, how important are the freshman and sophomore classes, and how can even the first couple of years in high school affect when you're evaluating, say, an admissions application later on?
Yeah, absolutely. I love the advice Britt gave earlier about which classes to take. I think sometimes, what you should take for college and what you need to graduate from high school are different. And so, like the students mentioned, to create good habits now, yes, that's a time management, create good habits, but also you're creating good academic habits, right? And you're preparing your brain for that next level of education as well. So in terms of the classes for your freshman and sophomore year, I think again, following that plan, but also keep in mind that colleges and universities are looking at those grades as part of your holistic application. So, in terms of cumulative grade point average at Loras College, the higher your grade point average, the higher your merit scholarship. And then not so much to the institution I'm at now, but my former institution had a direct entry nursing program. And so we were looking really closely at a student's math and science grades, and it was selective enough and it was competitive enough to get in that those math and science grades really mattered during your freshman year. So while it might not seem like a big deal in the moment, right? If you're thinking about going into the types of majors that maybe are a little bit more selective, or you're going to a college that's more selective, keeping that in mind, that those grades could come into play in terms of your admission decision to a specific program later on as well.
Maria, I'm gonna follow up with each of you. I'll do it again with you right now. Do you have any requirements or recommendations for a student to get admitted into Loras that they would need to know about? Any requirements or recommendations when we're talking about specifically the core classes, I would say?
Right. We do look to see that the students kind of followed that similar pattern. We're a private institution, so we have a little bit more flexibility. We have a good number of our students who are well above a 4.0, but we also have been named a best school for students closer to that 3.0, right? Because we do offer a lot of assistance and a lot of services to help students continue creating those habits once they get here. So I hope that answered your question. We're looking to see that students have improved and have worked on those study skills through college, or through high school rather.
All right. All right. Nayli, I'm going to come to you next. The question about, just emphasizing again the importance of freshman and sophomore classes, and then how some of those might be evaluated even for Indian Hills.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the most part, I would probably say that it's very important with being a freshman and your sophomore classes, just because those classes are going to make up the majority of your background. So when it comes to junior year, I wouldn't want any students stressing about, I need a 3.0 or I need a 3.5 GPA to get into a certain medical program or a healthcare program. So I think by prioritizing your freshman year and your sophomore year, it's going to build you to be at a better set point when you go into applying to those colleges. So I would say that's what kind of we look at. It's going to help your GPA. I know when I was a student, I really did not care about my GPA in the beginning. So freshman and sophomore year of high school, it was a struggle for me. I had to work my way up junior and senior year. I was like running around with my head cut off, basically trying to take all these gen eds or trying to take more classes in high school to bump it up to get into a program that I was interested in. So I would say focus on that, build that time management on that behalf. When it comes to Indian Hills, we are a 2-year institution, meaning 21 months and you're done. For the most part, our health science side of the aspect of Indian Hills does have certain requirements for you to get in. But all of our other programs that are transfer pathways or ATC, which is advanced tech, all of our STEM related programs, it's more of a simple, easy transition in. We're not looking at ACT, we're not looking at AccuPlacers or GPA on those behalf. We just need high school transcripts and so forth. But when it comes to health sciences, we are a little bit more picky around that point. We will have like certain TEAS requirements for the nursing program, or we'll have GPA, AccuPlacer, ACT, or STAT examinations that you'll have to take. You can choose either one of the three that you want to go ahead and do, and then see whichever one you score best in for you to be accepted into either a rad tech, a nursing, or into our dental programs.
Excellent. Thank you. And Allison, want to come to you with the same question about the importance of freshman, sophomore classes, but also was going to ask you about requirements that students may have when it comes time for them to start to apply to the University of Iowa.
Yeah, it's very important with 9th and 10th grade to get good grades because that cumulative GPA is what we do, one of the factors that we look at when reviewing applications. So if you don't have a good 9th or 10th grade year, it's kind of hard to get to a cumulative GPA that we want to see when we're accepting students into the University of Iowa. So it's important to start off your first semester, 9th grade, hit it hard, make sure you're getting good grades because we do take that into consideration when we're reviewing applications. In regards to requirements, we do like to see a lot of core classes. So anything in the subject areas of math, science, social studies, English, and world language. The more core classes you take in high school, the better chance you will have to be admitted into the University of Iowa. We are test optional. If you do not submit an ACT or SAT test score, we would like to see a pretty solid GPA and more core classes, just so we know that you are ready and prepped for your time at Iowa.
Allison, can you also mention about the world language requirement?
Yeah, so at Iowa, we require 2 years of the same world language to be admitted into Iowa. So that's either 2 years of Spanish, 2 years of French, 2 years of German. They have to be the same world language. In order to graduate with that requirement from Iowa, there's 3 different options for students. One is 4 years of the same world language. So if a student completes all 4 years in high school, they will complete that requirement for graduation through Iowa. The second option is 3 years of the same world language. You come to Iowa and take a cultural class. We have over 25 different ones to choose from at this point. If you would like to do the third option, it's 2 years of 2 different world languages. So if you take 2 years of high school Spanish, you come to Iowa. Let's say you want to take 2 years of Japanese, that would meet the requirement. We encourage students to take as much world language in high school as they can, because it's going to be a lot easier taking the high school level of world language than if you were to take the college level. So that's what we really encourage students. But we also wanted to give them options if they didn't want to do more than 2 years in high school.
Thank you, Allison. I appreciate you bringing that up. It's just because it kind of comes back to the slide that Britt had shown about optimum preparation. And really, we would like to see students follow along that path just to keep all options open. Different colleges, universities are going to have different requirements for being able to get in. When you start to get into that a little heavier, probably especially junior year and even really sophomore, junior year, senior year can be too late if you're missing some of these requirements that some colleges you want to look at to do. So just wanted to show the difference there between some of the different requirements. Next question, I'm actually going to go to my colleague, Carrie, who is also tonight being a former school counselor, working in that role. And Carrie, I know that we've had a question that was on the chat box that you had answered, but I think it's worth bringing up. Somebody had asked that they're looking at being a vet. Is it too early to think about that? And whether it's a vet or whatever, anybody that might be looking at a different career, what's your answer to that question? Is it too early to begin thinking about that?
Yes, this is actually one thing I was going to bring up anyways about what students as freshmen should be doing. In terms of, is it too early? No, it is never too early. one thing that you can be doing as a freshman would be setting some goals for yourself, long-term and short-term goals. So long-term, what do you want to do for a career, for your education, even what you're going to do your senior year. Some short-term goals, how you want to focus on your academics this year, maybe some grades you want, what you want to participate in. But thinking now about those careers you want to do can really help shape those 4-year plans, which I know earlier in the presentation, we talked about those 4-year plans. And so for the example of that student that wanted to be the vet that asked that, she asked what classes to take. So knowing you want to be a vet is going to require a lot of math and sciences potentially. So taking math and science classes all 4 years of high school for that realm would be a great option. Not only that, but a vet is something that is going to be in that ag potential area. So taking ag classes if your school has them, or if you are in a partnership with your community colleges, taking some ag classes. And then I also recommend thinking, laterally with that, not just, okay, a vet is going to require these skills, but a vet is also going to be working with people. When you are a vet, your people are having animals. They're going to bring them to you. So sometimes you're going to have tough conversations about medical care potentially for that pet that they have. So even taking classes like psychology, just to understand some of those basics of human functions or how they think and how to interact with somebody when they are potentially more distressed, or if you're having to, in a vet situation, potentially put down an older animal, how to interact with those people when they are putting their animal down for due to medical reasons. So those are just some great things to start thinking about now with your career and picking some of those classes to fit into that 4-year plan.
Thank you, Carrie. Kind of leading into that, then I'm going to go to our students next. Adolfo, I'm going to start with you. And what were some of your experiences that helped you in high school choose that career that you're getting into? Any job shadowing, internships? What were some of those experiences that help you do that?
That's a very good question. So over at where I go to is Atomo High School, they have the dual enrollment course with Indian Hills. And what made the transition go so smoothly was that they had the auto tech program available for me to go on campus from the high school to Indian Hills. And that allowed me to, get to experience what it would be like to take the course there. And then I also got rid of some gen eds that I was required to have at the Indian Hills done at the high school. Like they had some math and some writing stuff, like classes, and I got them done at the high school. And that's something that I would like to mention to like the incoming students is to, ask if there's some dual enrollment courses available, because they're also free and you want to pay for them in the long run, and it'll make the transition smoother when you transition to college.
Excellent. Peyton, coming to you, any experiences that you had, whether job shadowing, internships, your experiences to help you narrow down where you ended up deciding to go in your major?
Yeah, so the major one was pretty easy for me. I kind of fell in love with music at a younger age, and I had been surrounded by education my entire life. So I kind of knew that's where I wanted to go, but was given really good experiences through high school, going to different elementary schools, playing for them, giving lessons too. So that really helped me narrow it down. So just any door that I could get into with music and education, I just went for it, which is another piece of advice. Like if you want to do something, just go for it. Especially with kind of getting those experiences during high school. And deciding where I wanted to go was definitely a little bit of a question mark. But I was definitely a homegrown Hawk. So I came to the University of Iowa, saw everything that it had to offer. And not only that, but looked around the campus, pictured myself on that campus, and I just knew that was definitely the place that I was meant to be. So yeah.
Great. And I'm assuming being a you love music, that you think 80s music is the best. I'm just assuming that right now, that because it is. So okay. Moving on to now Mila. Mila, what experiences in high school did you have? Any job shadowing, internships, or things that had helped you decide what you wanted to major in?
Yeah, so I come from a very small high school in a very small town. So we didn't, until this current year, we didn't really have a job shadowing opportunity through the high school. But I was able to get involved with a lot of clubs and extracurriculars. And I really thrived on that. I thrived on being busy and always having somewhere to go, and that allowed me to spend more time with my family and my friends because they were also going to those same places doing those things. My senior year in January, I started working part-time at a local coffee shop, which gave me great experience, like having a first job, and being able to handle money, manage my money and my finances, talk to customers and people, and sometimes people that I knew really well in a more professional way. I also spent a lot of time volunteering. I volunteered at least an hour every week with my local church, helping out with their religious education program. And that, plus all of the volunteerism I would do over the summer, was enough to get me a silver cord for my service hours at graduation, which is a really big deal in my opinion. And then also, again, bolster my application for college.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm going to now kind of get the advice now again from our admissions reps. And I am going to start with Nayli this time. I wanted to ask you, what do you think are some most important things for students and parents as they go through, and I know we're still talking about freshmen here, but what are some of the most important things for students and parents to consider in selecting a college? Not that the parents are going to select a college for the students, but they're still going to want to know some things. What are important factors that they need to be thinking about over these 4 years if they are going to be looking in a career where they need to go to college? Nayli, start with you.
Absolutely. I think two of my main factors would probably be financially, making sure that whatever institution that they're looking at, that it's financially stable for them to be able to do, whichever one's going to give them the best opportunity and financial aid package as well. I think being first generation or just being a freshman, I think the number one concern is how am I going to pay for college? What are the resources out there? So I would just say work with a bunch of different schools. I always like to say it's free to go on tours. It's free to get information from these colleges. So don't be afraid to do so. Don't be afraid to ask cost sheets from those institutions. Indian Hills, we do have a certain cost that has the whole breakdown of how much you can expect to spend during your 2 years at ICC, and it will give you all of our different programs. If it's not on there, it's going to go under the transfer pathway program. But don't be afraid to ask those financial or those tuition packages, just so you can see how much are you going to spend during your 4 years at Iowa, or how much are you going to spend during your 2 years at Kirkwood. Financially, it's always good to oversee those and whatever best suits, of course, a family and a student. On the other hand, I would also say whatever fits right for a student, and I'm portraying that more to the students because again, sometimes parents like to say some things and parents will try to persuade some things. But as a student, does that college feel right for you? I was actually talking to Adolfo earlier today and I was telling him, hey, my biggest thing is you need to feel okay and comfortable going to, the institution that you're wanting to go to. Just because your friend's going to go to Iowa doesn't mean that you need to go to Iowa. It's whatever is going to give you best financial aid packages and whatever you're going to feel comfortable and feel at home. So making sure that institution's right for you, making sure you feel safe, making sure you can imagine yourself there. So when you go on those tours, ask all the questions you can to your admissions rep, but also look around, see the students, and see if that's an environment that you wish to be at.
Allison, I'm going to come to you next. I think that's a very good point. What might not be best for friends, or even what was best for your parents, may not be for the student as well, but still going to be involved with it. But what are some of the factors that students and parents need to be thinking about in selecting a college?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, if you have a major or interest area in mind, definitely check to see what colleges do have that program and how well known is their program, first and foremost. And then also look at other factors such as, do you want to go far away from your family or do you want to stay close to home? How big of a school do you want to go to? Do you want to go to a very large institution or would you rather it be smaller, more private school? But yeah, I would recommend definitely if you can make the trip to that campus, go on a college visit. Like she mentioned earlier, they are free for students, so it's a great way to see campus. During one of our college visits, you get to go on a a walking tour guide with one of our student tour guides, and Peyton here is one of them. She's great, and my biggest recommendation would be to ask the student tour guides questions that you might not feel comfortable asking advisors or admissions people because they're closer to you in age. They know all the experiences, all the clubs or organizations you can get involved with. They know what daily life looks for them. And so I think just being able to talk with those student tour guides gives you a great opportunity of what you might experience and if you can see yourself being there for the next 2 to 4 years. So definitely check out campus if you have the means to do so.
Excellent. Thank you, Allison. Maria, I know a lot's already been shared, and I still wanted to come to you. You might even want to discuss a little bit about when we talk about timelines and looking at it as when looking at college too.
Yeah. No, I was kind of taking notes with everyone else's answers and all very good answers. I would add, Neely brought up a good point with, thinking about the price point and starting to plan for that a little bit now is a great idea. Every college and university has a net price calculator on their website. So even though you're a few years away from ever filling out a FAFSA application, there's a FAFSA estimator on the FAFSA website or going out to a college that you might be interested, their net price calculator. That can be a really good jumping off point. It will change a little bit between now and then, but probably not very dramatically. So you can get a pretty good sense of what you might expect 4 years from now. And then, in terms of visiting colleges, I think it's a good idea to go to the college that you think you've always wanted to go to, right? Take a visit there. It's not a bad idea though to try visiting a larger school and a smaller school and a community college if you have the time, and especially if you're starting early in your junior year or maybe the end of your sophomore year, to try each one because they're all very different. And you might learn something about yourself in the process too. I often talk with students who thought they wanted to go to a really big school. They visit Loras and they're like, it's actually not that small. Or vice versa. A student visits a college like Loras or a smaller college and they're like, I think I want something a little bigger, right? So I think that can be very beneficial. And then, Loras is a diocesan Catholic college, but a lot of times private colleges, community colleges, and even the Regent schools have something that makes them unique beyond just being a public school or a private school. And so, thinking about if you're interested in a school that might be faith-based as well, is something to kind of consider. Even schools that are public schools still have opportunities for that. So you can go to that larger school and have that experience, or you can go to a smaller school where that's maybe a more significant part of their identity.
I'm going to come to the students now as well in discussing. Peyton, I'm going to start with you, kind of along the similar lines with this. What was one or two factors that were most important to you in picking the college that you went to?
Yeah, so a couple was number one, did they have my major? And I looked into that program. So when I wanted to go into music ed, I met with the studio professor and other people from the School of Music, which I think is a really good thing to kind of go do before you go, because you could go and completely not like it. So I really made sure to do that when I came, as well as I really just wanted a campus that felt like home. So definitely when I went to a game at Kinnick Stadium or when I would just went in and observed a classroom, it really felt comfortable. So that's kind of what I was looking for.
How many different schools did you visit?
I visited about 4. So I visited
Okay.
Iowa, Iowa State, St. Ambrose, because I'm from the Davenport area. And I also visited Kirkwood. So those were the 4.
Okay. Which you actually did what just Maria was just mentioning about different types as well, just to get a perspective on there. And I'm not, again, we're going to point out what is good for Peyton may not be for another student. wasn't probably for Mila, wasn't for Adolfo. I mean, we've got different experiences there. What we want to try to find is going to be that right fit. You're going to hear that probably a lot over your 4 years in high school, trying to find the right fit and is what's best for you, career, college, if it is a career that needs college that you get into. Um, Mila, I'm going to come to you next. What were 1 or 2 factors that were most important to you in selecting the Loras?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. From the time when I was really little, I always knew I wanted to come to a small private Catholic college. Catholic life and community is very important to me. And I wanted to be able to find that community and cultivate it on my own, away from my town, where there are, even though it's small, it has like 7 to 10 churches, and there weren't a lot of kids my age who were Catholic. Um, I wanted to be far away from home, but I didn't want to be so far away that I felt like I couldn't come home. So it's like I wanted to not be tied down. Um, and I think I didn't realize it, but I didn't really want to go to the same college as anyone else from my school because I wanted to be able to meet new people. And I didn't want to have to feel obligated to go out and be with someone because I already knew them. And I felt like because of the person I am, I would have if I had gone to, say, Iowa State with some of my friends. Um, so this is just like a little fun thing. I'm the first woman in my family to be born in the United States, but not Dubuque County on my mom's side. So being at Loras has kind of been like coming home a little bit. There are times where I'll just go to the grocery store and I pass the cemetery where my great grandparents are buried, and that's just a really special thing. I had a really different experience choosing a college than Peyton. I only went to 2 colleges for a visit, and I got to see a bunch of other ones when I went to do like science fairs, National History Day, other things that you get to do because you're in high school. But didn't, I just very quickly knew that Loras was the right fit.
Excellent. And that's the whole idea behind it. I still think even by visiting one other college, you still got a comparison, which I think all the admissions folks and everyone will say can be very important for that. Adolfo, I'll come to you. What were 1 or 2 factors that were most important to you when you ended up deciding to go to Indian Hills?
Funny enough, Indian Hills, the environment there, it just blew me away. Like I managed to, the biggest factor for me was like the financial side of things and the costs. And at a career fair, I managed to meet Nayli, and she was very transparent, and she showed me like all the programs, and especially the automotive program. And she just showed me like that there's scholarships, opportunities, and stuff that would be able to cover the costs. And so then I went on a visit, and I saw the automotive like shop, and it just blew me away. I was like, this is where I want to be. I really want to be here and study it. And then I took the program too with dual enrollment at the high school, and it was very hands-on, and I just really I accepted it, and I was like, this is where I want to be. This is where I'm meant to be for sure. Thank
Did
you.
you visit any other colleges or universities? Or?
No.
No? Okay. That's fine. I mean, and you knew a lot about it from your experience there.
Mhm.
So again, there is no one right path. We were just to good to hear your experiences on how each of you ended up in different places, but still sound and obviously very happy with the decisions that you made. We can tell
Oh yeah.
that. So that
But
is
for
great.
sure, there's definitely explore options for sure. There's so much opportunity out there, but I managed to find my home.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Carrie, I'm going to come to you next from a school counselor perspective. Wanted to ask you, what are some mistakes that in the past you had seen students mistake when you were a school counselor as high school freshmen?
Yeah, I know some of this has been mentioned before, but just to kind of reiterate something is not taking those classes seriously as your freshman year. I know students sometimes think, okay, it's okay. The 8th grade year, the teachers kept reminding me it didn't matter how I performed. But this 9th grade year, it truly is a clean slate, but it also really starts impacting your future for careers in college. So really focusing on taking those classes seriously and asking for help if you do not understand anything. You might be in a smaller school, and so you might still have the same teachers you had in middle school, but they will start treating you a little differently because they are going to give you some more free reign. And so it's really important to start asking those questions if you start struggling. So making sure that you do take those classes seriously. Also, not focusing on organization. Now is the time to really handle those organization skills. I know students have mentioned the study habits, we've mentioned time management as well, but starting with that organization as that freshman year, you're going to get more and more classes. You get the freedom to start choosing classes more and more as you go through your high school career. So focusing on your organizational skills, if you start participating in clubs and sports and all those extracurriculars, it's really important to be organized for yourself and for your time as well. So those would be just some of the mistakes that I've seen freshmen make.
Carrie, are there also any specific events or activities that you would encourage freshmen to do this year?
Yes. Peyton said, get involved. I do believe she was get involved. That is definitely what I would tell you to do. Join one club, one organization that is new to you, your freshman year. That is very important. You will find you might not like it, you might love it, but you know what? It's just as important to find what you don't like as it is you do like. I'd also say to do your career exploration. So in all the high schools, you are going to be engaged in career exploration activities. You'll be in your career information systems, whether your school has Zello or Naviance or MAPS or a different system. Engage in those, take those seriously. Those are your time to start exploring your careers and then potential education that fits with those, whether that is college or an apprenticeship or military. Take this time seriously for that work to then start helping to map out your future plans.
I think that's great advice, Carrie. And I would say not only to the students, obviously it is about the students, but as a parent, this can be a great way of starting a conversation too about what your student wants to do as well. If you ask them about this career exploration that I'm sure that they've already done even as freshmen, even when they were in middle school, to just talk about that with them. Sometimes that career exploration may not always end up being the path that the students end up going, but having those conversations and starting now, it can just be a great way of trying to connect. And quite honestly, as a parent, there are going to be some things that you'll hear about a few careers that are out there that weren't around when we were in high school. I'll just tell you that too. But it can be a great learning experience. And again, a great conversation starter between you and your student as well. Wanted to go back again to our admissions folks, and some of these questions kind of seem like they overlap or to be very similar, and there might be some of the same things. Allison, I'll start with you. Some of the things kind of again continuing with the same themes, but right now, any other advice as younger students just beginning, and obviously with freshmen this would be the case, just beginning to think about life after high school and potentially going to college, what are some of the other things maybe to reiterate or that we hadn't talked about, advice that you would give to them?
Yeah, like we've talked about earlier, go on those college visits. Junior time is a great time to go, but you can start as early as sophomore, even in ninth grade year, going to college visits. And I would just plan to, if you're looking to see, how many students are on campus, to try and go during the school year when class is in session. You can really see how many students are around. Maybe you can peek in to see what a classroom looks like and what maybe they're learning in that class, the class size. So if you can do a college visit, definitely do that. But also, it's important to keep going with your core classes. It's really important. Something I struggled with when I was in high school is I really wanted an easy senior year. I knew I was going to Iowa. I got into Iowa, but my senior year, I hardly took any high school classes. And then when I got to Iowa, I was like, wow, that was a bad idea. I was not prepared for these freshman year at Iowa. So definitely, I would say you don't want to. What I did is I put all my eggs in one basket my first and second year of high school, just so I'd have an easier junior and senior year and enjoy it. Definitely try and spread it out, plan, organize those classes. But yeah, don't wait until your senior year to have a relaxed senior year. Definitely plan ahead and make sure that you continue with your core classes.
Maria, I'm going to come to you, and there might be some advice you want to give. But also, I think sometimes we assume that college freshmen know what it means by, say, a college fair, which can be another great experience there. Could you just also, but any advice you may give them right now as they're going through, but any other advice, but maybe also specifically talk about what takes place on at a college fair and making that when they end up going, maybe it's even this Sunday at our Golden Circle College Fair that we're having in Altoona, but some advice with that too.
Yeah, depending on where you're at in the state, the Golden Circle College Fair is awesome. It's one of college reps' favorite ones to attend. But a lot of high schools also will host them through our Iowa Association of College Admission Counseling throughout college. And then ICAN also hosts a great fair at Kirkwood in the spring as well. So regardless of where you're at in the state, there's something close enough for you to attend. But when you go to a college fair, take time to go up to tables. You can collect brochures. A lot of times you can register early and they will scan your information. So you don't have to sit there and write out a card at most college fairs anymore, like parents maybe did when they were going to college fairs. Having a separate email account set up from your other just day-to-day email account, just like a college admission email account, is really helpful. And I would especially say do that if you're using a school email address, because you'll graduate from high school and colleges might still be trying to contact you through the summer. So a separate email address for all of your college planning stuff. And then the other thing I wrote down was a great way to explore colleges if you aren't quite ready to visit is by following them on social media. Not just the main page for their college, but I'm going to use Peyton as a first example. You can follow the University of Iowa, but you can also follow the Hawkeye Marching Band, right? Or Mila is in our Brightbot Catholic Leaders and Thinkers program. So you can follow Loras College, but you can also follow the Brightbot Catholic Leaders and Thinkers program. So, and I'm not quite sure what all the organizations that Indian Hills has, but I follow a couple of their social media pages, and that's a great opportunity too. Every college has their main one and then a lot of secondary pages. So great way to see what's going on and what students are up to. And then my final thing is it's okay to change your mind. So we talked a lot about exploring careers and career clusters. Think about what you wanted to be when you grow up, when you were, 4 years younger than you are now. I think I still wanted to be an ice skater, when I was, in 4th grade, and now you're in 9th grade and you may have some other ideas, and that will absolutely continue to evolve while you're in high school. And so that's why those career clusters can be really helpful. You might realize that math and science isn't your thing, right? And that you like the conceptual side of that, and the social sciences end up being your thing. So it's okay to change your mind. That's my advice.
Excellent. Nayli, I'm going to come to you as well. Some of the things we've discussed maybe already, but any other advice you would give younger students just beginning to think about life after high school and potentially going to college?
Yeah, absolutely. I really love what Maria stated, where it's like it's okay to change your mind. This is the time to do it as a 9th grader. I changed my mind like 5 different times when I was in high school, and I still changed my mind 5 different times when I was in college. And it's a total normal process to do so. So don't be afraid to do that. So I would say explore your options, go to those college fairs if your school is hosting one. The other thing that I would also mention is if you have a CCTC, which is, I believe, a career and college transition coach at your high school, please utilize that. They're going to be your best friend. We have 8 with Indian Hills that work over our districts in Oskaloosa and Tri-County and so forth. And a lot of students actually gravitate towards them. So if you know you have one, or if you don't think you do, I would recommend asking your counselors, because they will probably have some. If they don't, you can always still work with the college reps, of course, or your counselors, because they're also going to be your best friends. But see if you have one, because they will be able to work with you. I always like to say they don't only just work for the institution that they're hired through. They work for you with anything. If you're thinking about going to Iowa State, Kirkwood, or whatever college you're thinking out of state, they will help you apply. They will help you finish out those scholarships application as well. I would also say, just most importantly, enjoy your senior year. You're not supposed to know it all. You're not supposed to have it figured out by your senior year. Feel free to reach out to any, admissions rep, counselors, teachers, parents. If they went to college, you can always ask them about their experience. Obviously, it's always changed from now to then, but it's never bad to ask other people that have been to college, or if you know that you're going on a visit and you have that student ambassador that's guiding you or giving you that tour guide, pick their brains. I always say pick their brains because they're the ones that are living on campus. They're the ones experiencing college. And I think they're the ones that will really give you that perspective instead of an adult that's kind of already walking you through that process, of course. And then, of course, enjoy senior year. It goes by quick. Don't forget to get involved and just get around, do your community services if you can. I always tell students at least 5 to 10 hours. If you can do more, great, but something so you can put on your scholarships in the long run for sure.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Appreciate everyone with all your advice that you've given so far. We're actually going to kind of get to a wrap up now part for the end of the panel. And for that end of the panel, what I want to do is going to go around one more time and ask each of you, are there any last words of wisdom, advice, anything that you would want to share to emphasize something that's already been talked about, or maybe something that we haven't that you want to? I'm actually, just to allow you to think about it a little bit, I'm going to start with my colleague Carrie on this one.
Yeah, so practice self-advocacy. Now is a great time to practice self-advocacy. When you have questions, if you don't know something, reach out and ask. Go to those tutoring sessions. Be an advocate for yourself, what you need to help you learn, what resources you need. So that way you practice those skills now throughout high school, through college. When things get more challenging and tougher, you will already have those skills in place. Second, I will tell you to continue developing your relationships, or start developing your relationships with your teachers, your counselors. I know it's been mentioned before, but throughout high school, they are going to be your resource later down the road when you need letters of recommendations or scholarship letters. They are going to be your best friends because they are the ones you're going to ask for those things. So start developing those relationships with your counselors and your teachers throughout your high school career.
Thank you, Carrie. Next, I'm going to come to Shelley. Shelley's put a couple of students through college and been through this. So Shelley, come to you next.
Oh, thanks, Eric. Boy, everybody has had such great advice and great points, but something I want to just make sure that folks don't do is just totally, throw college out of the picture by saying it's too expensive. As people have mentioned, there's lots of scholarships. There's financial aid from the federal government, from your state, from local resources. And it might be surprising to you how much financial aid could be received to help toward those costs. And then again, sticker price is sticker price. I mean, you can look at it and say, nope, can't afford it, can't do it, but it's worth it to look into other ways to help out and pay for college. So, and then when I was my kids were going to college, I took them to a number of different schools, just as has been mentioned. I even took my Girl Scout troop to private colleges and universities. They spent some time at Loris, where I used to work, and we just had a great time. But each one of them, after we visited, they said, "Oh my gosh, I love it! I can't wait to go to Loris. I can't wait to go to the University of Dubuque." But you'll have time to refine that selection. And so, kind of get an early start, pay attention to those social media followings, and then also check out college websites. You can get a pretty good feel for a college just by what's on their website. And if they have any videos of, peers who are through the admissions office, they're posting videos and that kind of thing, watch those. You get a really great feel for the student population from those videos. So I guess that's my best tip.
All right. Thank you, Shelley, and appreciate you being here tonight. And freshmen, just remember their giveaway, the $1,000 given away, you can apply for that right now. This is one of the few scholarships that you can go for as freshmen at this time. So do take advantage of that. Maria, I'm going to come to you next. Now, you had mentioned ice skating. So I was just curious if you were Team Tanya Harding or Nancy Kerrigan. For those students, they probably don't know who that is, and they would have to Google search that. But I didn't know if that's what got you into ice skating or not, and then your words of wisdom as well.
Yeah, Tara Lipinski is actually who did it for me. So
You're probably
but
too young for Nancy Kerrigan and
no, I'm
Tanya
not.
Harding, probably. So
I
okay.
actually did like a second grade research project on her. So I wanted to be an ice skater for a long time, and never have taken an ice skating lesson in my life, which is funny. But you know, we've talked about so much. There's so many great resources. It's sometimes hard to listen to all of this, right, and take it all in. But the ICAN resource guides that they provide, the college planning guides, the timelines, they've got it all in writing for you. So you can always go back and reference that. Make use of the Iowa College Access Network. You know, whether you're the first in your family to go to college or not, it's probably very different from when you went as a parent or students. As you go, it'll be different than when your parents went. And then besides that, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and you're going to have to make a lot of brave decisions. Rip off the Band-Aid and just do it. So.
Thank you, Maria, and appreciate you being here tonight. And next, I'm going to go to Nayli.
Yeah, so Maria did a really good job covering it, I would say. To kind of piggyback off her, I think just, enjoying the moment, of course, in high school, but also not being afraid to go up to college admissions counselors when you're at like an ACAC fair, or if your school hosts a college and career night. Don't be afraid. We're not going to bite. You can ask us all the questions that you want to ask us. If there's one thing that I always hear, it's there's no such thing as silly questions. There never is. So I would just say open up. Don't be afraid, because we're just as humans as you guys are. And if we don't know the answer, we promise you we will find you someone that probably does know the answer. Or if you don't have those resources, don't be afraid to still ask us, because we might point you in the right directions to those resources. The biggest thing that I do for students is I don't care where you're going as long as you're happy and as long as that's the right suit for you. But if you still need someone to go to, or if you need someone to still help you out filling that application out to Iowa or to Iowa State, Kirkwood, SEC, I would love to be that person, or I know anyone else would love to be that person to help you succeed in your future educational endeavors. And then most importantly, involve your parents into it. Sometimes I know from my experience, both my parents didn't go to college, but I involved them into it a little bit, and they really seemed to enjoyed it. It was a proud moment for sure, because none of them went. So to be able to kind of build that college experience and kind of incorporate them, I know parents would love to be a part of it as well. It will be kind of hard on them when they send them off to college, of course. But it's always good that everyone is in Iowa, unless you go out of state. Then you might have to buy a plane ticket to go somewhere, but you can always buy a plane ticket to come back home, and you can always buy a plane ticket to go see your kids. Is the one thing that I always hear year round. So
Thank you, Nayli, and thank you also for being here tonight. Really appreciate it. Allison, going to come to you next.
Yeah, kind of to piggyback what they both said, definitely ask for help. Ask those questions. We are here to help students. I know I was lost in the process, and I was too scared to ask for help and reach out. So definitely email us if you're afraid to pick up the telephone, and we're always here to help answer your questions. And then my other piece of advice is try to visit more than one school. Even if you have that dream school on your list and you know exactly that's where you want to go, try and check out other colleges, because it might surprise you. You might end up thinking something is totally different than what you thought before. So definitely check out more than one school.
Thank you, Allison. And now I'm going to go to our students to get their final thoughts. Mila, I'll start with you.
Thank you. So I have a couple things. First of all, it's really important to prioritize yourself and your mental health. I know that's been talked about a lot in society lately, but it is really important. I know I mentioned before about how I was really busy in high school and I really thrived that way, but it could get a little mentally degrading and stressing sometimes. And I know now in college, like our coach has a habit tracker. One of those habits is 20 plus minutes of self care a day. And so prioritizing yourself and checking in to make sure you're doing okay personally and you're on top of things is really important because you can't be a good student if you're not taking care of yourself and if you're not mentally healthy. Um, my other thing is like it's really important to make sure you remember things. And also, yeah, so writing down things I need to do has been really important, but also telling yourself you can reach out and get help, like everyone said before, is also really important because even if you're really successful in high school now, you might not be that way in college. And even though, like, you have those connections from high school, you're going to be figuring out something new, and your parents aren't going to be there to help you as much in college. So, asking for help, making connections with people, and prioritizing yourself and your mental health is really important. Yeah, that's what I got.
Well, thank you, Mila. Appreciate it. And really thank you for taking the time to being here tonight with us. Adolfo, come to you.
For some advice, I would like to add on to the mental health part too. Don't be afraid to make mistakes and don't be afraid to learn from them too, because nobody's here is going to be perfect, but it's nice to learn ahead of time. It's something to take into consideration, especially when going down a path in life. We live and we learn. That's just some words of advice I have. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Adolfo, for taking the time to be here tonight too. Thank you. And Peyton.
Yes, I would say my biggest piece of advice is to just keep your mind open into new experiences. I was so set on going to college. I was like, here I go, University of Iowa. I was ready to take it on. And I remember my mom dropping me off at the Catholic Residence Hall, and I looked at her bawling. I was like, what if this isn't right? And she was like, if it's not right, you're going to know. And if it is right, you'll feel it. And I sure felt it. And now I don't want to leave. So I really love it here. And definitely wherever you end up, you're not stuck there. You can go find different things. You can switch your major. You can find a new group to hang out with, but just keep your options open. And let your parents take pictures of you at your college visits.
That is good. That is good advice, especially if one doesn't attend with you, the other one wants them, or the other parent will get in trouble. Just talking from experience there. So yes, so great advice. Thank you all. Maria, Allison, and Nayli, thank you so much. You guys are great ICAN partners, and really appreciate you being here and bringing these students. Mila, Peyton, and Adolfo, just continue to wish you luck. Not only this year, but your remaining years in school and getting things done, and appreciate all the great advice that was given tonight. I am now going to actually turn it back over to my colleague, Brett, to wrap it up.
Well, and wrapping it up is really easy. I just want to say thank you to all of our panelists, especially our college students. I must say we've been doing this for several years. This is one of the best nights with college student feedback. So thank you for taking that time. For anyone who is watching the recording of this, you've gotten to this point and you couldn't ask your questions because you're watching a recording, just know that all of us are here at any point in time. So just reach out to any ICAN staff, talk to your school counselors. If you do have a CCTC, reach out to them. All of the things that you just heard on the recording are absolutely true. And we're all here to help you through the next 4 years and beyond. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching later, and have a great rest of your evening.